Good evening. Good evening. We are living in a time of great curiosity. Everywhere the question arises, can minds be read? Can impressions be shared across a room, a continent, a grave? Some of you have had coincidences that seem more than chance. Some have been to circles, to readers, to demonstrations, and you are not to be ridiculed for that quest. You sought guidance. You sought assurance that you are not alone, that there is a way to know what to do next. Do you see? I honor the hunger. Now let me begin at once with a correction that liberates. The gift you want is not the ability to enter another's thought or to parade secrets. The better gift is the listening ear, the capacity to receive the divine impartation that always carries peace and right direction within itself. My sheep hear my voice, said the Master, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. He did not promise a trick. He promised a relationship. He promised an inner hearing that guides without fanfare, without strain, without spectacle. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. The more we chase phenomena, the more we strain for messages, the more we build static that drowns the still small voice. Elijah discovered the wind, the earthquake. The fire did not contain the word for him. It was a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. You do not need a wind of excitement. You do not need an earthquake of sensation. You need that quiet which allows what already is to register. Do you follow that? Our aim is not thrills, not proofs, not the sensational. Our aim is guidance and peace made evident by fruitage. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know whether you are indulging fancy or touching reality. If guidance is real, it will bring a hush to fear. It will simplify the next step. It will arrange circumstances with a wisdom you could not manage. If it leaves you excited and unsteady, if it stirs curiosity but no obedience, drop it. If it baptizes you with quiet, follow it. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be busy and guess. Be still and know. I am not here to entertain you with stories of impressions, though I have seen the law of spirit operate in ways that would satisfy curiosity for a lifetime. That is not the point. Your life must prove your God. Your home, your business, your body, your decisions, these are the pages on which Spirit writes. This is why I limit my conversation in crises to very few words. Sometimes it is only, I will help you, because the essence is not in what we say to each other, but in our willingness to be still enough to hear what God is saying as our very being. Yes, I said as God appearing as individual being. You will hear more of this as we go along, but I must plant the seed now. The reason you can be guided is not that some power reaches you from afar. It is that God is never afar. I and the Father are one, John 10:30. The voice you ought to hear is not foreign. It is your own true life voicing itself in you and as you. Therefore, you do not have to pry open the heavens. You have to unclench the mind. So we begin with a simple consecration tonight. We are withdrawing from the chase for psychic data. We are taking the better gift. We are consenting to the listening ear. We are choosing the quiet that lets peace be our proof and order be our fruitage. If you will allow it, even in these few minutes together, there will come a soft recognition, no fireworks, no performance, only that inward agreement that says, yes, I am led. Yes, I am safe. Yes, the next right step is inevitable in God. And in that, yes, we will travel together through these evenings, not collecting stories, but gathering fruit. Do you see? Now, having consented to the better gift, let us cleanse the approach. The lure beneath psychic chasing is very human and very tired. It is the dependence upon faculties that were never meant to bear the weight of God's guidance, guessing, inferring, reading faces, gathering little signals like a weather vane whipped by every wind of someone's mood. It is emotional sensitivity parading as wisdom. It is mental projection, putting your fear into the situation and then calling it intuition. Do you follow that? All of this amounts to leaning on the arm of flesh, on thought strain and nervous attention, hoping to squeeze truth out of tension. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. When you take a technique, however noble, and try to force an answer, you make a noise in consciousness that blots out the wordless impartation. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions. Matthew 6-7. The Master was not condemning words. He was warning against the mind's attempt to manufacture grace through quantity or insistence. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4-6. Might and power are the mind's efforts, loud, persuasive, strategic. Spirit is quiet, present, simple, certain, already complete. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. Not in pressure, not in performance, in quietness, in confidence. Let us make a distinction that will save you much wandering. Intuition can be mental. Revelation is spiritual. What is commonly called intuition often draws from memory, association, subtle comparisons, and the subconscious ledger of what you think people are like. It can flash. It can sometimes be right, but it has edges. It excites. It wants to be admired. Spiritual revelation is of another order. It is received, not made. It does not flash, it dawns. It carries no fanfare, only an inner hush. When revelation is present, a next step appears without argument, a phone rings at the right moment, a sentence is given you, but it is given, it requires no sale. Do you see? My sheep hear my voice, John 10:27, and the hallmark of that voice is peace. If it stirs agitation, curiosity, and performance, drop it. If it baptizes you with quiet, follow it. Even our holy words can trespass when they are used as levers, affirmations, declarations, favorite passages. Once they are employed to make spirit perform, they cease to be witness and become interference. Keep them as introductions, not as engines. Prime the pump gently, then let the water flow of itself. Be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before God. Therefore let thy words be few. Ecclesiastes 5-2. Few, not none. Offered, not imposed. The letter opens the door, the Spirit walks in. If you keep shouting at the door, you will never notice he has entered. This is why, in crisis, I reduce my outer speech to the simplest ministry, sometimes only, I will help you. Then I turn within. I will help you is not a technique. It is a surrender of my tongue to the listening ear. It says to the mind, be seated. It says to spirit, speak. And in that quiet, the impartation comes as assurance, as peace that settles the atmosphere, and, when needed, as instruction. Take no thought for your life. Your heavenly Father knoweth. Matthew 6:25-32. Take no thought means stop using thought as your savior. It does not mean be careless. It means be receptive. Drop the mental hammer. Lay down the toolkit of hurry and compulsion. Stand still inside long enough to discover that guidance is not a future event, it is a present presence. The moment you try to manufacture guidance, you veil it. The moment you cease pressing, when the mind's wheel winds down, receptivity begins. There is a holy quiet in which God's appearing as your very being announces itself, not in slogans, but in order. Do you see? Let this be your cleansing. Speak little, mean much, and listen more. If agitation rises, do not add words to it. Drop it. Be still and know. Now we can build a scaffold on which your entire practice will rest. The infinite way is built around a few words. The first of these words is as, the second is. These are not slogans. These are not charms to recite. They are lenses. They are the way you look at everything, yourself, your neighbor, your decisions, your very breath. And because they are lenses, the moment you put them on, the world changes without the world changing. Do you see? As God appearing as individual being, I and the Father are one, John 10:30, not two, not near, not related, one. When the Master said, he that hath seen me hath seen the Father, John 14:9, he was not announcing a private privilege. He was unveiling the nature of sonship. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, Matthew 3:17. Belovedness is not conferred upon a human personality. It is the Father recognizing his own appearing. Therefore, when you seek guidance, you are not a separated person petitioning a distant deity for a telegram. You are the one life acknowledging its own wisdom as your consciousness. Guidance is not from, guidance is as. It is the same life that formed you, speaking as you, in you, through you, without the fanfare of distance or time. My sheep hear my voice, not because the sheep have special ears, but because the shepherd is the life of the sheep. Do you follow that? Is the present isness of reality. The kingdom of God is within you, Luke 17:21. Not will be, not might be, within already. Before Abraham was, I am, John 8:58. The I am precedes your questions and outlasts your conclusions. Is means you are never trying to create peace, you are yielding to peace. That is, you are not arranging harmony, you are consenting to harmony, that is. You are not trying to make 2 times 2 become 4, you are realizing it is 4, harmony is, life is, love is, abundance is, omnipresence is. I am. When you sit this evening, do not undertake to manufacture a guidance event. Rest in is what must appear, will appear, because what is cannot fail to reveal itself when obstruction is absent. Put as and is together, and the whole chase ends. Guidance is not acquired by special powers. It is realized because God is appearing as you, and truth already is. When the mind ceases from its effort to be wise, wisdom announces itself as a simple next step. The phone you are about to force remains quiet, and the right email arrives unprovoked. The sentence you were crafting dissolves, and the exact words come of their own accord when needed. The path you were over-planning softens, and one clear footfall presents itself. That is, as and is functioning without strain. The proof is not an inner thrill. The proof is order, the hush in the chest, the absence of argument. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know. Now, if you say, how do I enter this? You do not enter it. You agree with it. A few words to prime, then silence. Father, thou art the life of me. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. God the invisible appears as Son the visible. Then drop the words, not as magic, but as witness. Let us silence the sense of separation. Let us still the craving to get. In that inner yielding, the still small voice is not imported. It is uncovered. You are not becoming spiritual. You are resting in what spirit is here as you now. And in that rest, guidance is not a message received, it is a presence realized. Peace will be your first evidence, right action will follow. Do you see? The still small voice is not a trick. It is not the showpiece of spirituality. It is not drama. It is not volume. It is inheritance. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. The knowing that follows stillness does not arrive with fireworks. It settles like dawn upon a sleeping field, no noise. Yet the whole landscape altered. Elijah looked for it in the wind, in the earthquake, in the fire, and the Lord was not in any of these. Then a still small voice, 1 Kings 19:11-12. Do you see? The voice that guides does not startle, it reveals. It is natural to you because it is God appearing as your very being. It is the shepherd knowing its own sheep from within the sheepfold of your heart. How does it come? Often as quiet clarity, as a simple rightness without argument. Thought argues, spirit illumines, thought rushes, spirit quiets. Thought personalizes. What do they think of me? How will I be seen? But spirit universalizes. What serves the one? What blesses? When you have touched the still small voice, you will notice the absence of campaign. You do not have to sell it to yourself. You do not have to talk yourself into obedience. The inner climate shifts. Fear loses its authority. One simple step presents itself without debate. This is not passivity. This is authority without noise. My sheep hear my voice, John 10:27, not because they have learned a code, but because life recognizes itself. The voice is your birthright, not your trophy. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Luke 15:31. Ever with me means no distance, no delay, no bargaining. Therefore, you need not strain to be addressed. You need only to remove the interference of mental pressure and let what is register. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Use a few to turn, then let them be silent enough for the impartation to be felt as peace. Test it by fruitage, not by sensation. If you emerge proud that you have received the message, you have likely received thought dressed for church. If you emerge humbled, grateful, and quiet, you have likely been visited by the living word. If it compels you to hurry, prove, impress, drop it. If it steadies you, simplifies the next hour, and leaves a residue of love, follow it. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know conditions arrange themselves without force. The phone call is no longer a performance. It is an act of service executed in ease. The meeting you dreaded becomes a setting for blessing because you are not there to get. You are there as the presence that is. There is another mark. The still small voice leaves you with no private possession of truth. It erases the my in my guidance and replaces it with the impersonal radiance of spirit. Not I, but Christ liveth my life. You do not own the light. You consent to it. You do not wield it. You witness it. Do you follow that? The less you claim, the more clearly it speaks. The more you rush to announce that you have heard, the more you convert revelation into personality and lose the substance. Let this reassure you. You do not have to cultivate genius to hear. You do not have to become thin-skinned or dramatic. You do not have to scan the horizon for omens. Be still and know. Rest in as and is. Allow the hush to come first. Let instruction be optional. Many times the voice arrives as peace alone, and that peace is already the answer. It loosens the knot you would have tried to cut. It dissolves the friction you thought you had to solve. When there is something to be done, it will be given clean, unadorned, timely. If not, the peace itself is the guidance. That is the inheritance. That is the voice. Do you see? Now let us keep our inheritance clear by discerning the counterfeit. Guidance has a look-alike that wears spiritual clothes but carries no spirit. I refer to mesmerism, impersonal hypnotic suggestion, the ancient belief in two powers. Do you see? The counterfeit is not a person, not your friend, not your enemy. It is not a power outside making you do anything. It is suggestion appearing as your own thought, as the world's chatter, as respectable concern, as urgent necessity, as fascination. It is only the arm of flesh, sound and fury, without substance. When you give it a name and a face, when you wrestle it as if it were someone or something, you strengthen what was only a passing shadow, depersonalize it, and you have already disarmed it. How does this suggestion present itself? In fear forecasts. What if, suppose, it's bound to go wrong, a weather report of doom that has never met the sun, in compulsive urgency, hurry now, decide now, move now, though peace is not spoken. In flattery, you are uniquely chosen. Announce your light, make a display. In condemnation, they are false. Expose them. Prove you are right. In voyeuristic curiosity, what are they thinking? What secrets can you pull from behind their eyes? In obsession with signs, if I see 3 of this and 2 of that by noon, then I will know. Do you follow that? None of this bears the mark of the shepherd. It is noise asking for obedience. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy 1-7. Fear is never the voice. Haste is never the authority. Curiosity about another's inner life is never the commission. Picture the old story of the snake and the rope. In dim light, a coiled rope is mistaken for a snake. Pulse races, muscles tense, a stick is fetched. But when a lamp is brought near, serpent and danger vanish without battle, because there never was a serpent. That is mesmerism. In dim light meaning in the fear thought, in the hurry thought, in the I must get a sign, thought appearances harden into emergencies. Bring the light awareness of is, acknowledgement of as, and the emergency is found to be only imagery. Resist not evil, Matthew 5:39. Does not mean submit to wrongdoing. It means do not grant evil the status of a power to be struggled with. Shine, and the rope is a rope. Stand in is, and the noise is only noise. Here is your protection in a single sentence. Drop it. Refuse to negotiate with mental noise. Refuse to decorate it with holy words. Refuse to explore its logic. Drop it. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Give not a thought to the clock that is shouting. Give not a thought to the bait, praise, or blame. Drop it. Return to the quiet authority of spirit. A few words to prime, if you must, Father. Thou art the life of me. I will help you, and then silence. Wait for peace to reassert itself. If peace does not accompany the next impulse, wait. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. John 14:27. Not the world's push, not the mind's rush, but the hush that carries authority. You will say, but if I drop it, won't I miss my chance? That is the old serpent hissing through the rope. The only chance worth keeping cannot be missed because it is of God. It arrives with order, not compulsion. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will prove this. When you heed urgency, you reap confusion, explanations, and repair work. When you heed peace, the way opens of itself. Timing is exact. Words are provided when needed and absent when not. Get thee behind me, Satan, Matthew 16:23, is not shouted at a person. It is spoken to suggestion behind me into nothingness. And in that nothingness, the listening ear hears again the familiar voice, simple and sure. Therefore, practice this discernment. Every impulse that excites, flatters, condemns, or hurries, drop it. Every beckoning to look into another's mind, drop it. Every bargain with signs, drop it. Stand still inside. Let as be, let as be. The mesmerism will pass for want of your attention. And what remains quietly will be the presence that guides without strain and proves itself not by sensation, but by peace and right fruitage. Do you see? Now we come to the quiet reason your hearing has seemed muffled. You have been attempting to use spirit as a mechanism to fix the world. You have taken the holy and harnessed it to personal agenda. Do you see? You have asked for guidance with a blueprint in your back pocket, and so your listening was not listening at all. It was bargaining. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Matthew 6:27. Taking thought, straining, planning, arranging, masks itself as responsibility, but in truth it is the arm of flesh dressed in Sunday clothes. The subtle trap is this. When you seek guidance as a tool to control outcomes, you remain the operator. You keep the reins. You stand at the center as fixer, manager, reformer, and you cannot hear clearly from the center of a storm you are stirring. Spirit will not be used. Spirit can only be witnessed. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. First, the kingdom means first isness, first consent, first the realization that harmony is already the law of being, and we are here not to make it so, but to unveil what is. Harmony is, love is, life is, supply is, omnipresence is, I am. When that becomes your posture, outcomes arrange themselves without your whip and spur. Consider the scene in Bethany. Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things. Luke 10:41. Careful, full of care about many things. She was fixing the world one dish at a time, and her very service deafened her to the one thing needful, the presence sitting in her own home. That presence is within you now. To hear it, you must stop using it. You must allow it to be itself as your being. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Use a few to turn, Father. Thou art the life of me. I will help you then. Let the mind be seated so that the kingdom can stand. This is not passivity. It is spiritual poise. It is what I call stand by in consciousness. Stand by means refuse the impulse to repair appearances. Consent to reality to reveal itself. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Stand still does not mean delay action. It means refuse to act from fear, flattery, or hurry. When the next step is given, it carries its own quiet rightness. It asks for no trumpet. It needs no defense. It is done almost before you have time to call it guidance. Do you follow that? Now tie this to fruitage, because there must be proof. If you have merely shifted from secular control to sacred control, your life will still feel tight, peopled with omens and bargains, crowded with explanations and fatigue. That is not fruitage. That is an emotional jag dressed in Scripture. Real fruitage is calm order. Problems are more quickly solved, yes, but notice this. There are fewer needless problems. You do not trip where you used to hurry. You do not speak where silence serves. You find yourself in the right place without cleverness. The ledger of repair work shrinks. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know if you are resting in is or striving in disguise. Take a business decision. If you enter it to bend outcomes with holy language, you will multiply variables and then beg for signs. Drop it. Stand by in consciousness. Acknowledge God is appearing as individual being. God, the invisible, appears as Son, the visible. Therefore, wisdom is the very substance of this activity as me. Then wait for peace. If peace does not accompany the next impulse, wait. If it does, move simply. or take a family conflict. Do not fix a person. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. Acknowledge is. Let the heat fade for want of your attention. When words are given, they will be few and full. If none are given, peace itself may complete the healing. You hear Spirit most clearly when you stop trying to make Spirit your tool and begin consenting to what already is. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10 is not a call to passivity. It is a call to rightful order. God as your being is as your ground, peace as your proof. Then the world you were trying to fix loosens its grip, and the life you are here to live begins to flow. Do you see? Tonight we begin with something so simple you may overlook its power. We shall prime the pump, but we will not force a word. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. Use a few to turn within, then let them go. This first stage is orientation, not incantation. It is the courteous knock, not the battering ram. Sit quietly. Let the body be comfortable enough that it does not beg for attention, but upright enough that you do not sink into sleep. Take a paper and a pen if that helps you. Mark the beginning. We are not going to write essays. We are going to write a letter to Spirit, brief, honest, unbeautified. This is not to inform God. This is to consent, to seat the mind, to acknowledge what already is. I am in the Father, and the Father in me. John 14:10. Let that be the posture behind every word. Write only a few lines, something of this order. Father, thou art the life of me. God is. Love is. I am in thee, and thou art in me. I live, yet not I. Christ liveth my life. I consent to thy will, which is peace, which is order, which is already. If there is a word for me, thou wilt voice it. If there is only peace, that is enough. Thank you. Then stop. Do you see? We have not asked for signs. We have not bargained for outcomes. We have oriented to as and is God appearing as individual being, truth that already is, and we have declined to make a performance of it. Now put the paper down. Do not polish those lines. Do not add flourishes. Seat the mind. Let the hands rest open on the lap as a sign that you are not grasping. Let the breath come as it will. Do not educate it. Feel the softening in the chest, the unsharpening of the eyes, the jaw untightening. This is the inner movement from head to heart, from effort to receptivity, from personal will to consent. Say within yourself quietly, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Then say no more. If thought continues to trot out sentences, do not fight it and do not feed it. Give not a thought to the thought. Drop it. Return to the simple awareness of presence. No image, no shape, only the felt sense of I am. Harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is. I am. Then even these fade like scaffolding once the building stands. We used words to turn. Now we let Spirit keep the turn. Here is your safeguard against self-deception. If the words produce strain, stop. If they produce a sense of achievement, stop. If you feel yourself becoming proud of your letter or righteous about your devotion, you have moved from witness to performance. Drop it. Return to the quiet. Do you follow that? True priming relieves. It does not tighten. It humbles. It does not inflate. It settles like a hand on the shoulder, not like a trumpet in the ear. If agitation rises, use a single sentence to reorient, not as magic, but as reminder. Peace, be still. Mark 4:39. Or, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. 1 Samuel 3-9. Then release even that. We are not keeping up a stream of holy syllables. We are clearing the channel. The letter opens the door, the spirit walks in. If you keep knocking after he has entered, you will miss the guest. Remain in this quiet for a few minutes. Do not count. Do not peek at a clock to see if you have been spiritual long enough. Let peace be the first evidence. Often nothing more will come, and that nothing is everything. In that hush, the authority has moved from your mind to the presence. You have yielded personal will. You have agreed that God is appearing as your very being. You have placed yourself with Mary at the feet of the Christ rather than with Martha in the kitchen of good intention. When you rise, do not announce anything to yourself or to others. Carry the residue of stillness as you would carry a sleeping child, carefully, quietly. Tonight we have done enough. We have primed the pump without forcing a word. We have turned with a few lines, and we have let them go. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that even this gentle beginning bears peace. Tomorrow we will listen. Tonight we have consented. Do you see? If you will sit a moment longer, let the listening begin, not as a hunt for words, but as communion. True waiting is not vacancy. It is alert stillness. It is not a trance. It is presence. It is not analysis. It is consciousness aware of itself. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. The knowing that follows is not manufactured by your mind. It is imparted by the presence that already is. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. So we use a single cue, and then we are quiet. Let the cue be simple and surrendered. Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth one, Samuel 3-9. Or, not my will, but thine be done, Luke 22:42. Or only, speak, Father. Then stop. Do you see? The cue is not a key that unlocks a vault. It is the way you take your hands off the door. After this, do not pursue images. Do not chase sentences. Do not decorate the silence. Sit as you would sit with a beloved in perfect trust. You have turned, now you wait, alert. What are you alert to? Not to sensation, not to omens. You are alert to peace. You are alert to the soft, authoritative hush that says, I am, harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is, I am. Often nothing more is required. In that quiet, the compulsion to decide fades. The appetite to control loosens. The criticism you were nursing drains away without explanation. That is the voice before the voice. That is the guidance before the guidance. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know the phone you dreaded calls for no defense. The meeting takes place without friction. The body ceases its shout. Do you follow that? If an impartation comes, it will be simple. It may be a single sentence of clarity. Call her now. Wait until Monday. Apologize with no explanation. Or it may be a release from anxiety without instructions, and that release is the instruction, do nothing from fear. It may be a new attitude toward a person, Christ-seeing, replacing, fault-finding, so that your next words are born of love rather than management. It may be a quiet no, with no defense to offer anyone. It may be a quiet yes, without the need to announce a revelation. The common mark is this: it arrives without campaign. It leaves you unhurried. It carries its own rightness. Guard yourself here, because daydreaming wears the costume of guidance. If you find yourself scripting scenes, winning arguments, performing piety, stop, drop it. Give not a thought to the thought. Return to the cue once. Speak, Father, and then to silence. The listening ear is not entertained by pictures. It is steadied by presence. If you feel yourself analyzing options, weighing pros and cons in the old way, stop. That is taking thought. Which of you, by taking thought, can add 1 cubit unto his stature? Matthew 6:27. Stand by in consciousness. Consent. Wait. Do not make a project of hearing. The goal is not messages. The goal is communion. Guidance is the byproduct of realize. Presence God appearing as you, as and is, do the work, as cancels separation. The shepherd is within the sheep. My sheep hear my voice, John 10:27. Not by cleverness, but by nature, is cancel strain. Truth already is, and the moment you cease trying to make it so, it registers. When peace comes, you have heard. Let that be enough. Many nights, peace will be the whole answer, and you will discover in the morning that the way has quietly arranged itself. Keep this rhythm for a few minutes only. No clock watching, no striving. 1 cue, then stillness. If agitation returns, repeat the cue once and be still again. If nothing seems to come, be content. You have placed the government upon his shoulder. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, Isaiah 9:7. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will verify that this waiting is not delay, it is alignment. And in alignment, the next right step appears without parade, and your heart knows it. Do you see? Now we must give the listening a standard. Otherwise you will be impressed by your own impressions. The Master gave the rule, and it has never failed. By their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Not by their fireworks, not by their poetry, by their fruits. You see? If a so-called guidance is of spirit, it bears fruit, quiet harmony, and right action. It leaves you more patient, not less. It shortens your speech, not lengthens it. It makes decisions kinder and cleaner. It dissolves the old resentment without your having to reason it away. It results in something practical, an act done at the right time, a call that fits without strain, a boundary kept without battle, an apology offered without theater. Let us be exact and save you months of wandering. If a guidance produces fear, it is not the Christ impulse. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind, 2 Timothy 1-7. If it produces superiority, now I know, and they do not, it is not the Christ impulse. If it breeds fascination with secrets, what is in their mind? What hidden patterns can I uncover? It is not the Christ impulse. If it leaves you in confusion, multiplying conditions you must manage, it is not the Christ impulse. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Drop it. Give not a thought to the thought. Return to the still authority of is and wait. Now hear the balancing truth. Because your senses will often be poor witnesses. You may feel nothing at all and be perfectly led. You may feel very much and be on an emotional jag. Sensation is not evidence. Fruitage is. The fruit of the Spirit, Scripture says, is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Galatians 5:22-23. Test your night by your morning. Test your impulse by its residue. Test your insight by the day it fashioned. If last night's quiet leaves today's schedule simpler, your temper softer, your speech fewer, your generosity without calculation, you have heard. If last night's ecstasy leaves you touchy, hurried, explanatory, demanding that others accept your light, drop it. Do you follow that? Take an example. In the listening you receive, call her now. If it is spirit, you find yourself dialing without drumbeat, speaking without defense, and the call ends with more peace than it began. No salesmanship, no aftertaste. Or the word is, wait until Monday. If it is spirit, Monday arrives with order. Circumstances open of themselves, or the desire to push has evaporated. If what you heard sends you into a weekend of anxiety, compulsively rehearsing lines, building proofs, drop it. The shepherd does not drive, he leads. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. His leading carries his peace. Now for money, for health, for the daily tangles. If you rise from your chair and find that the bill no longer torments you, even before a check appears, that easing is already fruit. It often precedes the visible. Then, without haste, the next right step presents itself, perhaps a quiet call to arrange terms, perhaps a task you had avoided that now seems easy, perhaps a provision you had not noticed because fear was loud. If the body quiets its shout after the listening, and you move through the day without advertising a healing and without dramatizing a symptom, that is fruit. Words are only auxiliaries. The proof is peace and the practical reordering of hours. Make this your practice this week. Every morning, review the prior evening's listening, not by the fireworks you experienced, but by the harmony that followed. Ask, did yesterday carry more patience? Were my words fewer and fuller? Did I relinquish a grievance without congratulating myself? Did right action occur without argument? If yes, continue in that track. If no, do not condemn yourself. Correct the method. You may have tried to use spirit. You may have chased sensation. You may have entertained curiosity. Drop it. Return tonight to as and is God appearing as you, truth that is, and let peace be the arbiter. Finally, remember this promise and test. The wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, and easy to be entreated. James 3:17. First pure, without hidden agenda. Then peaceable, no inner quarrel. Gentle, no harsh push. Easy to be entreated, easy to yield to. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule means govern, decide, umpire. Let peace call it in or out. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that you have heard, not because you felt holy, but because life flowed in quiet order. Love took the helm, and right action appeared of itself. Do you see? Now we turn to the place where this becomes tender and very practical, other people. Here, fascination with mind reading shows its most subtle misuse. Why do we want to know what they are thinking? Safety, control, justification. Personal sense wants a guarantee, a lever, a verdict. You see? Curiosity parades as care. Suspicion calls itself discernment. Management dresses up as love. But none of this is the shepherd's work. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. John 7:24. Righteous judgment is not peering into another's psychology. It is beholding God as the substance of individual being, God appearing as you, as me, as that one in front of you. The alternative to mind reading is Christ seeing. Look back of the eye, behind the mask of today's mood, and behold identity. God the invisible appears as Son the visible. He that hath seen me hath seen the Father. John 14:9. Was not a boast. It was a revelation of the one, life living itself as individual being. When you enter a room, do not take an inventory of faces and speculate about motives. Stand by in consciousness. Acknowledge as God is manifest as individual being. Acknowledges harmony is, love is, wisdom is, I am. Then carry a single inner benediction, not to be spoken aloud, not to be offered as sermon, but to be witnessed within. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Matthew 3:17. Say it quietly within for the one before you. Say it for the one who has offended you. Say it for the one you fear. Then drop it. Let the presence do its own revealing. When conflict arises, depersonalize immediately. Give not a thought to the person or the condition. This is not indifference to their pain. It is protection from the hypnotism that would make of them a second power. Identify the suggestion impersonally: fear, jealousy, lust, pride, lack, and refuse at entrance. It is only the arm of flesh. It has no law, no person, no substance. Drop it. Then restore your gaze. Christ is the reality of this one. God is the breath, mind, and life here. In that posture, you will find either your silence healing, or words will be given few and full. Take no thought how or what thing ye shall answer, for the Holy Ghost shall teach you in the same hour what ye ought to say. Luke 12:11-12. Words are only auxiliaries. The presence does the work. You will be tempted to argue, if I do not foresee their move, I will be unprotected. That is the old serpent wrapped around the rope. Your safety is not in predicting minds, but in realizing God as identity. When you hold another in suspicion, you bind yourself to their shadow. When you behold the Christ of God, where sense reports a problem person, you unbind both. Often you will discover that nothing outward must be done. The heat in the room subsides without victor or vanquished. If a boundary is required, it will present itself with quiet rightness, free of blame, free of self-justification. If an apology is required, it will come without speechifying. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know fewer arguments, shorter explanations, relaxed shoulders, right action occurring without parade. Try this in your nearest circle, before the meeting, before the dinner, before the phone call. Sit for a minute. Acknowledge, Father, thou art the life of me, and thou art the life of this one. God is the center and circumference of this encounter. Then let one inner witness rise. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Do not add a lecture. Do not make a project of converting them. Hold to as and is. Walk in. Listen more than you speak. If a word is given, let it be simple. If none is given, let the silence do its office. Do you follow that? If the other continues in noise, let their noise testify to its own nothingness. You need not amplify it. Refuse the bait of defending yourself or diagnosing their motives. Drop it. Resist not evil, Matthew 5:39, means in practice. Do not elevate suggestion into a power by wrestling it as a person. Stand still inside and let reality be reality. You will notice that your compassion increases even as your gullibility decreases. You will say no without hardness, yes without flattery. Christ-seeing is not naivete, it is vision. It dissolves fear because it knows that the only identity present is God appearing. And so the relationship is healed at its root, not by managing another, but by recognizing the one. Mind reading seeks advantage. Christ-seeing bestows benediction. One tightens the room, the other opens space for grace. I and my Father are one, John 10:30, is the truth of you. And this is the leap of love. It is the truth of him, of her, of them. Hold to that in silence. Let peace be the evidence. Watch as the hours arrange themselves with fewer tangles, and the faces before you become less like puzzles and more like holy places. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know you have seen rightly. Do you see? There are moments when the room tilts, when the phone rings with news you did not want, when a child cries out, when a figure on a screen tells you what you fear, when a quarrel rises so fast that breath shortens and words sharpen. In such an hour, the mind demands a sign right now. It must choose, fix, control. Do you see? That compulsion is not guidance. It is hypnotism pleading its case. It is only the arm of flesh. Drop it. In emergencies, our work becomes simpler, not more complex. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference, inwardly reduced to a whisper and a willingness. Outwardly, say as little as possible. Here is the emergency use of the listening ear. First, stop 1 second. Stand by in consciousness. One inward sentence only. I will help you. That is not a boast from you to God, nor a spell to force events. It is the yielding of personal will to the presence that is already here as your being. At once pivot from two powers to one. Refuse fear as authority. Recognize it as suggestion, not substance. Then acknowledge is, omnipresence is, life is, love is, wisdom is, I am. Whither shall I go from thy spirit? Or whither shall I flee from thy presence? If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. Psalm 139 to 7-8. There is no spot where God is not. Do you follow that? Now let a single scriptural cue seat you. Peace be still. Mark 4:39. Or only, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46 to 10. No more. Give not a thought to the thought. Do not hunt impressions. Let the hush arrive. In that quiet, the still small voice that is not a trick but your inheritance, the next right step announces itself without parade. It is often simple, sometimes surprising, always quieter than panic. You will find yourself doing the obvious that anxiety hid, stepping out of the room rather than arguing, deleting the unsent letter rather than perfecting it, dialing one number rather than surveying 10, waiting 10 minutes rather than filling the gap with explanations. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. The leading carries its peace. If emotion surges back in, do not fight it, depersonalize it. This is not a person or a condition. This is mesmerism, the old belief in two powers. Drop it. Return to as. God is manifest as individual being here, now as me, as this one. Return to is, truth already is, I am not making it so, I am consenting to what is. Then wait a breath. Often the body softens, the jaw releases, the shoulders drop, little signs that authority has returned to where it belongs. Move only from that poise. Let this be practical. In a family flare-up, your inner I will help you is followed by silence, and the sentence you are about to hurl dissolves. You hear, leave the room now, and you go, and the temperature falls without winners or losers. In a workplace crunch, the urge is to send 3 frantic messages. The hush brings 1 calm call, and the matter is settled in minutes. On the road, the old fear would seize the wheel. The hush says, take the next exit and sit. You do. And the schedule reorders of itself. In each case, fruitage verifies the guidance. Confusion gives way to order. Hurry to right timing. Strain to sufficiency. Do not imagine you need long minutes for this. 10 seconds of real consent will do more than 10 minutes of holy verbiage. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13 is an instruction for thresholds as well as sanctuaries. Stand still means refuse to act from fear, flattery, or hurry. Wait for the act that carries its own rightness. And remember the promise that seals emergencies with certainty. Lo, I am with you always, Matthew 28-20. With you meaning as you, not alongside as a second actor. The shepherd within the sheep. I and my Father are one, John 10:30. In urgency, reduce words and return to omnipresence. Refuse the two-power lie. Rest in isness. Then watch the next step appears in the quiet, and you find yourself already taking it without trumpet, without tremor, with peace as your proof. Do you see? Now let us make of this not an episode but a life. This is not a lazy man's work. Consciousness is built the way a path is built, by walking it night by night until the feet know it in the dark. Consistency builds the listening ear. Do you see? One dramatic night will not establish you. 7 quiet evenings kept will do more than 70 unkept resolutions. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength, Isaiah 30-15. Here is your simple nightly structure. First, a brief priming truth. Second, silence. Third, one small act of obedience. Fourth, release the outcome. Words are only auxiliaries. So the priming is brief, 1 or 2 lines, acknowledging as and is. Father, thou art the life of me. All that the Father hath is mine, John 16:15. Then silence, alert, unforced, receptive. Then the act, one step that arrives from the hush, not manufactured by anxiety. Then release, commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass, Psalm 37-5. No after management, no rehearsing, drop it. Let the 7 evenings take on a gentle shape. Night 1, establish the place and the hour. Write your 2 lines. Sit in the stillness and accept that peace alone may be the message. If a small act rises, put away the letter you were about to send. Wipe a debt of pride by a quiet apology. Do it and say nothing more. Night 2, set one person before your inner eye and behold Christ seeing. Within, bear witness, this is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased, Matthew 3:17. Sit in silence. If the act is to refrain from a correcting word, refrain. If it is to send a simple kindness without commentary, send it. Night 3, let supply be the theme, not as getting, but as isness. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Luke 15:31. Be still. If the act is to pay a small bill in faith, pay it. If it is to give a modest gift where fear would hoard, give it. Then release the ledger from your mind. Night 4, hold the body in God. The Lord is the strength of my life, Psalm 27-1. No diagnosing, no pleading. Be still. If the act is to go to bed at the right hour, go. If it is to set aside a stimulant you knew did not serve peace, set it aside without speech. Night 5, place your work on the altar. Not my will, but thine be done. Luke 22:42. Silence. If the act is to wait until Monday, wait. If it is to make one honest call without selling, make it. Night 6, rehearse your emergency drill in calm. I will help you. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46-10. 10 seconds of real consent. If the act is to delete an unnecessary message, delete it. Night 7, review by fruitage, not by fireworks. Ask, was there more peace, more wisdom, more kindness? If yes, give thanks. If no, correct the method. Less talking, more listening, less managing, more releasing. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule decide whether to continue in that track. Do not isolate this to an evening corner. In the morning, before the foot touches the floor, acknowledge as and is. I and my Father are one. John 10:30. Harmony is. Life is. Love is. I am. At meals, a single inward grace. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. Not plates and calories, only the bread that is presence. At thresholds, doorways, calls, the car, one breath, peace, be still. Mark 4:39. Then step. These touch points stitch the day so that evening is not a rescue but a continuation. Guardrails will save you time. No journal obsession. If you must note, one line only in the morning. Peace more, wisdom more, kindness more? If the answer is yes, proceed. If no, refine the practice, not the prose. No sign hunting. If you go looking for omens, you will find them, and they will mislead. Give not a thought to the thought. Measure only by fruitage, quieter hours, truer words, cleaner actions, shoulders that drop, sleep that returns, decisions that carry their own rightness. By their fruits ye shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Do you follow that? Keep this for 7 evenings. Then keep it for 7 more. You will discover that the listening ear becomes a natural state, not an appointment. That guidance comes as peace first, instruction second. That God appears as your very being, and life organizes itself around that fact. Consistency builds receptivity. Receptivity proves itself by fruitage. And peace, the quiet, steady kind, is your witness that you have heard. Good evening. Let us gather the thread and tie the knot. We began with the fascination mind reading, psychic fireworks, the urge to probe another mind as if safety were a secret to be stolen. We correct that now, once for all. Abandon it. Drop it. Give not a thought to the thought. The better gift is not reading minds, but receiving the divine impartation. Words are only auxiliaries. Words sometimes are an interference. The true help is the listening ear, the receptivity that consents to the still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. Do you see? Our assurance has never been in clairvoyance. Our assurance is in presence. Our security is not in prediction, it is in realization. So we return to the 2 words that have done the heavy lifting for us, as and is. As, God appearing as individual being. Not God beside you, not God somewhere blessing you when you perform well, but God as you. I and my Father are one, John 10:30. God, the invisible, appears as Son, the visible. This very identity, this breath, this capacity to love and to be loved is the already of God. Harmony is, life is, love is, omnipresence is. The kingdom of God is within you, Luke 17:21. You are not manufacturing it, you are consenting to it. You are not trying to make 2 and 2 4, you are realizing it is 4. Guidance, then, is not attained, it is recognized, not added, uncovered. Now hear the quiet promise and believe it. Peace is not a consolation prize, peace is the proof that you have heard. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. Not the world's fragile truce, but that inner hush that carries its own authority. Let the peace of God rule in your hearts, Colossians 3:15. Rule means decide. Let peace be the umpire that calls it fair or foul. If tonight you hear nothing but peace, that is already the impartation. That is the instruction before instruction. Live from it tomorrow. Do the next right act, the one that carries its own quiet. Make the phone call that fear postponed, or refrain from the speech that vanity prepared. If nothing specific rises, then let the peace do its ordering. By your life experience, by the fruitage, you will know that you have heard. Let me give you a little picture, not to romanticize, but to steady you. A clerk locks the shop late, shoulders tight with the day's totals, and someone's sharp words still echoing. On the bus, she remembers, speak, Father, and then silence. No scene, no trance, just a loosening in the chest. The next morning, she finds herself greeting the very customer she feared with a simple kindness, and no story is told. Peace spoke first, then right action followed. Or a father stands at the sink, the dishes clattering like his thoughts. He stops 1 second. I will help you. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. He dries his hands and chooses not to return that sentence to the room. Something unhooks. The evening goes on in order. These are small things to the world. To spirit they are the evidence fruitage. Therefore take no anxious thought for tomorrow. Your practice is not to wring directions out of God. Your practice is to abide. Abide in me and I in you, John 15:4. The shepherd within the sheep, the voice within the sun. When fear returns with its clever briefs, what if? When will you act? Are you sure? Recognize mesmerism. It is only the arm of flesh. Drop it. Restore as and is. Consent again. Let peace stand guard at the door of thought. Then act only from that poise. We close, not with a flourish, but with gratitude, which is the proper seal of realization. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. John 11:41-42. Always means tonight. Always means in the morning. Always means at the threshold and in the ordinary hour. Do you see? Do you follow that? Peace is your witness. Peace is your promise. Peace is the beginning of right guidance and its continuing proof. I will help you. Walk in that quietly and let love do its own revealing. Thank you.